Okay, so good morning, Susan, Sloan. Everyone's in their remote office. If, in case folks don't know, Susan and Sloan are both attorneys with Sadie Law Group, and we wanted to talk about what's going on with bankruptcy court, what's going on with hearings, so that folks know, our court a little differently. So Sloan, you're the one that is really in court pretty much every day on behalf of our firm. So can you kind of go over what the process is right now for confirmation and other hearings?
Yeah, so right now, all the hearings are being held telephonically. That means they're all over conference calls. So the courthouse is closed unless you're necessary staff or personnel. Or unless a judge specially sets your hearing. All matters have to be resolved prior to the hearing date because we can't communicate with staff attorneys or trustees like we normally could. We also have to resolve confirmation objections and any reset hearings prior to, whereas normally we would be able to resolve things the morning of the hearing. We no longer can do that. All of the trustees' offices have kind of changed the procedures in which we have to use in order to contact them. And so the way that each office has done that is kind of different. So with Melissa Davies' office, you have to contact them at least a week in advance now. And that includes any and all documents have to be processed.
So in other words, the week before the person's hearing date, everything has to be resolved.
That's correct. Everything has to be received by our office so that we can then contact the staff attorney that's handling the hearing. For Nancy Whaley's office, it has to be 3 business days prior to the hearing. And then for Mary Ida's office, it has to be 2 business days prior to. Now, what that means is that you can't just contact us at that point, though, because we have to have all that information prior to that. So then that date is when we're actually contacting them.
So, in case a lot of people watching this don't know, sometimes in cases we have to file amendments, there has to be a new plan filed. So not only do we need to receive this, we need to have time to review them, prepare amendments, things to file in court. So when you're giving those deadlines, really for our clients, you need to get them in even before that because we have to have time to get the amendments filed before you email the trustees.
Exactly. And so normally we'd be able to have face-to-face interaction, or we'd be able to contact them in a much more easily way. But unfortunately right now, everything has to be over email. And so you want to make sure that you have everything submitted significantly in advance so that they'll have time to review it. Also, all of the trustees' offices, their main offices are closed and they're working with skeleton staff. So they're literally having to review all their own documents themselves. So they don't have time to review things the day before or things like that. They have to have these things significantly in advance. And if you do not want your case dismissed or delayed, then I would strongly suggest you have everything in a week prior to your hearing. I think that's the safest practice to make sure that you're good to go.
And I would just point out for our clients, we right after the 341 hearings, we're having Marissa in our office always reaches out to start going over the objections. But our clients need to know that we're all still working, even though we're working remotely. And in our case, clients can email their documents, they can fax them. We have a link on our website so they can download an app on their phone if they want to take pictures of documents that'll come into us PDF. So there's a lot of different ways to get those documents to us. And of course, we can email documents to e-sign. Our clients, and I'd say any clients, no matter what firm you're with, really needs to make sure that they're getting those documents to us early. Because any last minute folks, like you said, their case could get dismissed or significantly delayed.
And I think it's just really important to know that we have to talk to creditors and things like that as well.
Right.
And we can't do that in the same way that we normally would be able to.
Right. So definitely we're getting a more streamlined, efficient way, whether we like it or not, due to all of this. And I would expect this will probably be going on at least for the next month or 2. So
right. And miscellaneous hearings and trustees' motions to dismiss hearings are also being held this way as well. So any hearing that we have, if we send a correspondence with any additional questions or things like that, time is of the essence because we don't have the same amount of like go back and forth time that we normally would.
Right. Well, thank you, Sloan. That, I mean, that's very, very helpful because I know, people have been calling if they closed or what's going on. Things are still going on, and they need to be taken seriously because just because we are in this crisis, there's still matters that have to be taken care of. So, there's processes in place. I think bankruptcy court and our trustees have done an amazing job at stepping in and saying, okay, this is what we got to do. Because, no one expected this. And this is really something very new. I've been doing this almost 20 years and I've never had something like this come up. So I think our courts are responding really well. But, everyone has to really pay attention to deadlines and make sure that they're getting documents and they're responding to us. Because if not, it's going to be, devastating for their case. Susan, what about documents? Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. Documents are still required by the trustees and by the court. They haven't changed the deadlines for these documents. So it's very, very important, as Sloan said, that you get these documents to us ahead of time so that we have them in enough time for not only for the trustee's office to process them, but we need to process them too. As Lorena was saying, we need to receive the documents from you and we need to process them, create whatever amendments need to be created, and then get them to the trustee timely. If you don't get them to us timely, then it's going to clog our system because we still need to review everything and then the trustee needs to review everything. So there's different ways that you can get the documents to us. You can fax it. Our fax number is 888-850-1774. And you can always fax the documents. Make sure that you put attention to whoever it needs to go to. Follow up with our office to make sure we receive them, to make sure they're readable. That's kind of a big thing. We want to make sure they're readable. I
know when some people they'll try to just take a picture and send it, and a lot of times when we try to open it, it's blurry. We can't read it. And again, we've got a link on our website. If they go to the client section on our website, we have a link to an app where they can actually download it on their phone so that whatever picture they take will convert to a PDF. So it'll be a lot easier for them.
Yeah, definitely. And like Lorena said, there's a link on our website where you can convert it to a PDF. There's an app on the phone where you can convert it. Now, I think the one on the website, that's just primarily for one photo or a one-page document.
Right, but we're going to update it with we're going to update it with the link. I think Sloan, you send it over that we'll do multiple pages.
So I use Scannable. I think that's one.
And that's a free app.
It's a free app, and I really like it. It has a little butterfly as the app. But it'll do multiple pages, and then you can send it all at once. I use it for court all the time.
Right, and we'll have that available on our website. I'll get that up today. So we'll have the multiple page link for that. Oh, and can you talk about tax returns? Always the tax returns in terms of how they need to be signed and all that good stuff?
Yes, tax returns. We need those at least a week before the hearing. The trustees will reset your hearings if they don't have them. However, if it's a confirmation hearing or a trustee's motion to dismiss hearing because of tax returns, we need those before, at least a week before the hearing. They're not going to reset. In many confirmation cases, the IRS is saying that they didn't receive them. We need you to sign the taxes. Sometimes it's not good enough for you to send us your TurboTax PDF or whatever form you downloaded it. We need you to sign the 1040 form. So make sure you're signing in the correct place. It's not the e-sign form that there's a place for a signature there. It has to be signed on the 1040 by, if you're single, obviously just you, but if you are filing with your spouse, you and your spouse have to sign it and date it. Going back to these scanning apps, taking a picture one page at a time for your tax returns, and then sending them. Sometimes they're not legible, and sometimes when we try to open that and we try to convert it on our side, it's not readable. So you need to make sure that you're sending us readable documents, and that's where these apps come in really handy.
Yes.
I'll use a scannable. I use Genius Scan, and I think in Genius Scan you can put 8 pages or something like that.
Okay.
But you can scan them 1 page at a time and then send it as a full document instead of sending 1 picture at a time.
Okay.
And then they're out of order, and then we have to piece them back together. So it's more efficient that way. You can actually review the document before you send it.
Perfect. Perfect.
It's legible, so you're not getting mad at us for calling you and saying it's legible. So yeah, they're real handy. We live in an age of technology now, and these apps are great. There's an app for everything.
Yeah, no, really, there truly is an app for everything. And just to kind of wrap up, like I said, this has never happened before, so we've all had to kind of pivot and just deal with the cards we've been dealt right now. But I think as long as clients are communicating with their attorneys, they're getting documents to us early, then that's really how you can ensure that your case is going to like I said, move on. Because I know we've had calls and people have been like, oh, well, won't my case just get indefinitely suspended? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, the processes still have to work, and so you still have to make your trustee payment, you still have to provide income documents, whatnot. So people need to understand that courts our courts at least are still open, and so we still have guidelines. So if anyone has a question about that, they can obviously our clients can come straight to us. The Northern District of Georgia Bankruptcy Court, their website has a lot of information in terms of the general orders that have gone out to address it. But I appreciate you guys taking the time this morning to go over that, because we've been getting a lot of calls about that and people are a little bit panicked. So I guess the thing to take away from this is it's still business as usual. Clients have to be on the ball getting us documents early, because we no longer have that face-to-face time in court that we used to. Like Sloan said, we used to be able to go to court, and if something wasn't 100% taken care of, we could talk, we could get it worked out, or we could actually give them a document in court. But of course, the trustees, there's no way to do that right now. And I can only imagine how overwhelmed they have to be with doing this. Like you said, that so they don't have their support staff right there with them to review cases. So I can only imagine. Well, listen, thanks guys. I guess now back to work. But I'll put any updates will obviously be on our YouTube channel and also on our blog. So if clients want to make sure that they are subscribing to our YouTube channel so they can get these updates, and checking our blog as well. Anything that comes up, we're going to be posting. I am going to do a second session, another video about the 341 hearings, because that's something that's just kind of developed this past week, because those are going to be telephonic, and that's the initial bankruptcy hearing for those people that don't know. So there's actually, it's telephonic, but a little bit different process. So we're going to do a separate video on that, so that people know how that's going to work, at least for the next, I'd say, month or two. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.